4 times this team has won the annual Formula One Drivers' World Championship. 5 times it has won the Formula One Constructors' World Championship. Its domination in 1992 of both competitions was the most emphatic in motor racing history. Williams Grand Prix Engineering employs nearly 200 people at its headquarters in Didcot. Tonight, behind normally closed doors, we meet the people who make Williams unquestionably the current class of the field.
Sure, okay. But you're not fearful in your own mind that anything will happen?
Founder, the man who gives the team its name, is Frank Williams. Since he launched the company in 1975, Williams has come from often derided outsider to acknowledged master of the business of running a Formula One racing team. His domination is the more remarkable because since a car crash 7 years ago, he's been a quadriplegic.
I'll be at home till about 11. I'll be here for 2 hours, and I've got to go to Paris for the prize giving. Yeah. I'll certainly see you for a little while. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, bye-bye.
Frank Williams' partner, co-owner and co-founder of the company is Patrick Head, who's in charge of everything related to technology and design. Though he insists Williams' success is a team effort, the team insists it all stems from him.
You were talking about how in some respects this is still a bunch of boys playing with toys.
No, I was really just saying that probably quite a lot of the people working here now were played with, I don't know, dinky toys or whatever sort of cars they had, or Scalextric, or some sort of electric racing cars when they were younger, and maybe never grew up. But I was just being funny about it and saying it's sort of boys playing. But it is, in a way, it's a fun ground. We can develop whatever we want as long as it's in the direction of making the cars quicker.
Travelling here at 185 miles per hour, today's Formula One car contains the most formidable late 20th century technology this side of fighter aircraft.
If Patrick Head says that we need to design something to make the car fly 10 feet above the ground, we'll do it. Whether it's any relevance to anything else, we don't ask the question, we just get on and do it.
From my point of view, it's true that a lot of the work that I do is interesting because we get an immediate result and we have a fairly free hand in what we do, just so long as we can demonstrate that it makes the car go quicker.
I think you want to keep this striving forward for excellence all the time, because that's what the whole raison d'etre of Formula One is, being at the pinnacle. If you artificially lower that pinnacle, then you might as well go racing Bentleys with leather straps on the top, I think.
The 1992 championship was won by the FW14, the 14th design generation in Williams' history. This is the FW15, the car for 1993. But this particular car will never race. It and 2 other entire cars costing £1 million each will be used only for testing. The cars that line up for the opening Grand Prix of 1993 on March the 14th in South Africa will be FW15Cs. Their engineering and design based on refinements made during a winter of testing and development with this car. It's being prepared for the first session of that winter's work. With its partner, it must catch tonight's cross-channel ferry en route to a week in Estoril, Portugal. The racing may be over for 4 months. The work behind the scenes will be no less intense. The shadow of last year's #1 driver, Nigel Mansell, who departed in some acrimony, still hangs over the factory. But increasingly, he's not talked about anymore. Frank Williams' mind is directed only to the present.
Well, the burning issue of today, if you like, in my mind is who will be the second driver, because we've decided, we shall decide this week, #1, and then there are a number of other burning issues, like such and such. A company hasn't actually signed its contract yet for 93, although it has every intention, it said it will, but not actually signed yet, so until it's done, it ain't done. So that's on my mind heavily. A couple of other situations not quite like that. And then there's all sorts of minute-by-minute stuff which you've witnessed, I mean. But that's the same in every office here, and I'm sure in most offices throughout the country.
I think there's still this sort of concept by a lot of people that racing teams probably work from some lock-up garages and a one or two porter cabins. You know, you've seen from looking around here the amount of organisation and facilities and technical backup there is to our show, if you like. Whilst our sponsors don't expect us to win all the time, and we don't go out and pretend that we're going to win every time, because otherwise you're on a hide into nothing, we do say to them that we're going to give them value for money, that we're going to provide them with the best technology that we can develop, we're going to supply them with the best drivers that we can afford, and the whole show is going to be a first-class show on a world stage, and that's what they're interested in.
The people that are involved in it now, most of them would look on it as a business. I wouldn't think there's anyone in here that thinks it's a sport, because it's their method of earning their living. So from that point of view, it's most definitely a business. Outside, the general public walking up down the road would probably say that it's sport, but they've not been in here.
Most of Williams' annual budget of over £20 million is spent in thoroughly mundane ways on thoroughly conservative engineering. The small change of conversations here sounds much like any factory.
Somewhere there's a 5 mil discrepancy. I mean, that fits, and I'm sure that'll fit the car.
But that's what they used. They used my drawing, didn't they?
Well, yeah.
First
yeah, you used that drawing to make that with, and I'd use that drawing to make that with, so somewhere along the line we've lost 5 mil.
Okay.
Same thread, yeah.
Same thread, quarter UNF.
Okay.
And if you could turn the head to a dome, levers just enough to get a spanner on the flats. For this seat belt, we can't get any bolts. Please.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Ta.
Come on.
I'll go to inspection and find out what is going on.
Yeah.
Now.
Good. But I'll have my book back and my pen.
Oh, all right.
Though much of the activity around the factory is of a routine, repetitive nature, it is always enlivened by a constant stream of modifications. And however much this machine shop has in common with others up and down the country, it has a particular source of inspiration and a particular reason to get things right.
When I came here 10 years ago, I mean, I was fortunate enough when I came here, they were world champions that year. We became world champions. Then we had a good 2 years. Then we had a lean spell. But really, we never gave up, really, and I think that's it. I mean, we've never, ever given up the thought of winning.
The thought of winning can mean good pay packets all round.
You're in the job, you're doing the hours are needed. The car performs, you do more hours, and it goes round and round in circles, so you get hooked up on it, I suppose. And before you know where you are, you're doing an awful lot of hours, but not really noticing.